What's up, you fools? Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. This was day 3 of rehearsals. Individual rehearsals. This was the first half of the second semi. A very interesting day to say the least. But now that we had a few minutes just to soak it all in and think about who had the best rehearsals and potentially the worst, I hate that word, but my least favorite rehearsal.
One that needs to improve the most, I think, is the diplomatic.
Okay, yes. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's talk about the good stuff first. Let's talk about our top 3 rehearsals of the day. Let's start with you, Sean. Who's your third?
My third, I'm surprised that I'm saying this because I don't particularly, I like the song, but I'm not a massive fan of it. But I'm going to say Sweden. And that does surprise me. But you know, Sweden are the masters of the Eurovision staging. They perfect it back in February when everyone's still thinking about their songs. So, you know, it's a really slick, powerful, up-tempo, upbeat song. It's really effectively performed. Obviously, the vocals are on point, and I think they got a little bit more time today than probably a lot of other countries did to really perfect the blend of the vocals. So, but yeah, it's a really good performance. It's, you know, they've been ready, like I say, since probably February. So they're already there, but it was one of the more impressive rehearsals today.
Yeah. So my third place is actually Switzerland. Luca Hänni, I put in third place. While I don't think it was flawless, because a good amount of fixing to do, camera angles, certain levels of energy, I do think it really brings out the song, the excitement, the fun factor, and that is exactly what that song needs, and it was delivered. Yes, we talked about it earlier in our original review video, and I know people get mad when we always talk about the male fuego, but you know, there's so many similarities there too. Yeah. But people don't think about that too much. It's just exact appropriate for that song, and it feels good. I feel good about it. I feel as Switzerland is ready to go back to the finals for the first time in 5 years, and potentially even further than that. But that's my third place. Moving on. Number 2, who's your silver medal?
My second place is actually Switzerland. So I felt again that they did a very good performance today. Look, the comparisons are going to be there all day long, so I don't need to say it again, but it's a very well-produced, well-rehearsed routine. I really like the backgrounds that they've got with the red lights and the static. I think it all is a very well-produced stage show. Luca looks like he's just loving life on the stage, and they all seem really together as a group. And yeah, I think the vocals are actually better than we probably expected them to be as well, considering how high energy it is. So yeah, Switzerland really impressed me today. A few camera angles, a few things to tweak, but I think they've got a really good basis here to, at least they'll definitely get to the final, I'm sure of it. But you know, this is going to be Switzerland's best result for a long time, I think.
All right, so we're on the same page on that one. My second place is actually Austria, and that is a surprise, because if you watch my reaction video, I was not necessarily like super crazy about the song, but tonight she won me over. I mean, she already kind of sparked my interest like in Amsterdam when she performed, but tonight I was like, I'm on Team PÄNDA now. She really brought out the emotion in the song. I think the staging really accentuates the song that it needs to make it really stand out. Visually, it was amazing. It makes you really like, shut up, like, I gotta listen to this. Not her, like, you shut up, like, you don't, nobody talk, I need to listen to that, this is very, and she is so into it, like, she feels it. During the rehearsal today, she had like several tears running down her cheek. That's how much that song means to her, and it was just amazing. So I was very much into Austria today, and I'm glad that Austria, once again, I don't know what's up with them, but they figure things out all the time now at Eurovision, so good for you. Moving on, the big question. Who, in your humble opinion, had the best rehearsal of the day, and why?
People are going to think that we discussed this beforehand, and we didn't, but my first today is Austria, actually. So I think I had a feeling about Austria that, you know, with a really good stage performance, this could be a dark horse to, you know, at least qualify. I think they could do quite well. It's still a difficult one to judge, but you know, you could tell out there that she has so much emotion for this song and passion and feeling. The staging of it is really classy. It does look incredible on the screen with the triangles that are in the ceiling. The way that that's used is just fantastic, and Austria have really used the stage to their advantage this year again. And yeah, she's a great performer. It's raw, it's emotional. I feel out of all of the ones that I saw today, that was probably the most impressive.
Yeah. It's true, we did not discuss this at all, we never do, but it seems like we did, because my number one is Sweden. You
I knew
saw
you
that
would say
coming.
that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, great again. Because I think Zach and I agreed on the top three as well, just in different order, I think. But it is true, and this is a little bit of a bias, of course, because, you know, I always loved the song, but I feel as this is the song, this staging didn't change much from Melodifestivalen, right? So you can say, well, why is it the best one? Because it worked, and what was maybe not perfect from Melodifestivalen, they fixed today. And that is bring up the lighting and give the backup singers even a little spot and dress them as nicely, and it just works. And it's people on the live stream kept saying, Matt, I haven't seen you this excited all, you know, for any of the rehearsals. I'm like, I guess so. I didn't even notice it, because it makes me so happy. And I think this is a very powerful thing to do. Like when you see someone physically get so excited about a song, and that is why I got to put them in first place. And but I think overall, I think we agree on the top three, and that is, I think,
just in a different order.
There's a different order. That's pretty good enough. But let's just talk about, again, we talked about the one that I think is currently not quite on our radar yet, or where it needs to be, according to us. Who is your choice?
If I had to pick one, I would have to say Moldova. And I'm not too sure if that's going to be a shock or if that's the consensus, but I mean, maybe I'm slightly biased as a Eurovision fan, because obviously we've been here before. 2011, Mika Newton, we've seen the sand artist or the salt artist or whatever it was that they used today. Only difference with it being is that you can see through it with this one, unfortunately. It is a pre-recording. You can see that the artist they've got on stage, while still very talented, it's not in sync, so you know it's not live. I think the impressive thing about when Ukraine did it was that it was live and it was part of the backdrop. And in general, I think it is a way of distracting maybe from the song, which I think was another issue with Ukraine back then, and something I wasn't particularly fond of.
But it worked
at the time. It worked. I'm not too sure if it will work again. It is still a good backdrop, but I just think in terms of originality and the fact that it doesn't all quite come together, I think Moldova's a disappointment for me today, really. There's something that can improve on there, and I think the camera work does need some work as well. If they can bring it into sync, then maybe it will look a bit more impressive on the screen, but I think just for me, they really need to improve on that staging.
What he said. It's exactly like we agree on most. It's true, and I'm not going to say anything was bad today. Today was actually a fairly good day as far as like rehearsals are concerned. And I'm not saying Moldova was bad, but as you pointed out, and it sucks because we are a die-hard Eurovision fan. We've seen all the performances before, so we feel kind of cheated when we see like a sand lady.
Again, all I would say about that is that on the other side of things, if you've not watched Eurovision, you know, for so long, if it's only been the last couple of years, it will be new to you.
Yes.
And it will probably be impressive, and you know, there is a new audience for that, but I just think that probably clouds my perception of it a little bit. But it just needs to be brought more into sync. So.
And I would actually say same for me would apply to me, but I will also go beyond that. It's also saying that it was probably the one with the most challenges. And it's maybe not all just the Moldova's team fault, but the camera work was always an issue there with every single one. It was all over the place. She sounded great, so I want to point out vocals were spot on, so there's nothing to complain there. But yeah, I do feel also cheated by that staging. It's unfair for maybe to hold that against her, but that's how I feel. But the really bad camera work, like for 2.5 minutes, it was like one camera shot and that issues, and then even then when it worked, it was like not good, and the sand thing was out of sync with that thing, as you pointed out. So it just didn't jive with me, and it's unfortunate, I guess, but that's, you know, there got to be someone, you know, at the list where I'm like, not quite. But those are our opinions, and again, it's too close to be true. Next time I'm going to find someone who doesn't agree with me all the time, but that's what we're thinking. What do you think? I know you haven't seen all of the full rehearsals, but you saw at least a few clips. Based on that little information, who are your favorites? Leave your thoughts below in the comment section. Have a good night. Tomorrow, day 4, the second half of semifinal 2. Be there or be square. Bye bye.